can't even draw a stick figure. I've lost count of how many times people have said that to me when they find out that I'm an artist. That narrative of, I can't do that, it's so often drilled into us at a young age, and it stays with us for the rest of our lives. Today, we're going to explore a technique to find our way through those stories. I call it the bad drawing meditation. Hello from Skiathos. It's the Greek island where we're exploring the relationship between landscape, soulscape, and a creative life. I'm Rick, an artist and mystic from England, and I spend my time here making art and working with the wild energies of the island. The origins of these negative stories we tell about ourselves have really deep roots. I was thrown out of the school choir when I was 10 years old because the teacher said my singing was flat. It was a really humiliating moment, and to this day I can't sing with all the people present without a twinge of anxiety that I'm doing it wrong. And it's a shame, because those stories we tell about ourselves so often hold us back from living the life that we truly want to live, full, vibrant and alive, the life we truly deserve to live. Today, we're going to explore how the simple act of making marks on paper through painting or drawing can be a deeply healing practice, a kind of embodied meditation to explore the negative stories we tell about ourselves and the fear of failure that so often accompanies those negative self-images. First of all, let's deal with this fear that so many of us harbour from childhood. I can't draw. This isn't just about what we are telling others about ourselves, but much more importantly, it's about the story we're telling to ourselves about who we are. I wonder what your I can't stories about yourself might be. I can't deal with money. I can't hold down a healthy relationship. I can't speak up at work. One of mine has been, I can't make a successful YouTube channel. And so it's taken a lot of courage to begin this venture. And so I really do appreciate those of you who have liked, subscribed and shared these videos. And if you could do that now, if you haven't, that's a huge help. Thank you. There are all kinds of roots to these negative self-stories, like having our art criticised at school, for example, or experiencing any kind of rejection. I can still feel that burning sense of shame as I was thrown out of the choir in junior school, in a really visceral manner. It's not just in my head as a memory, but as a sensation in my body. And what's one of the most powerful driving forces behind all these I can'ts that stop us from even trying? Fear of failure, of course. Let's go back to drawing and see if that sheds some light on those other stories we tell about ourselves. Because when someone says to me, I can't draw, I want to ask, by whose standards? Whose judgment are you afraid of? Whose approval are you seeking? I should imagine if we knew that no one would ever see what we make, then we could express ourselves to our heart's content. You know, if I'm on my own in the car listening to music, I will sing at the top of my voice without worrying about it. So, what if you ignored that voice telling you that you can't do the thing? Not trying to silence it, maybe even acknowledging it. Ah yes, hello old friend of self-doubt, but going for it anyway. So take out a blank sheet of paper, take something that will make a mark, a pencil, a pen, a crayon, a burnt stick, and begin by acknowledging all the sensations you're experiencing. There is very often, even with experienced artists, the fear of the blank canvas. The blank page in front of us is incredibly daunting. When I reflect on this fear, I notice the sense of perfection in the blank sheet. It contains the potential for an infinite number of drawings, but the moment I make a mark on it, I've made a choice. The line will be here and not there. The colour will be red and not blue, and so on. And all that infinite potential begins to close down. The act of creating reduces the possibilities present from the perfection of the infinite emptiness to something more definite, but also something more imperfect. To bring anything to birth into the world through an act of creation is to face that fear and risk the imperfection. As long as we do nothing and sit and stare at the blank page, then nothing will be marred. But also, nothing will come into being. As long as we put off applying for the course that has piqued our interest, as long as we don't go and say hello to the stranger at the bar who smiled at us, as long as we don't pick up the pen to write our first poem, nothing is spoiled. But the moment we act and make the move, that courageous first step forward, the daring first mark on the page, then we've jumped into the arena where the fear of failing spectacularly looms large. And now here's the challenge. Why not fail spectacularly? Don't simply make a tentative line on the page. Take a handful of colours and scribble all over. In fact, I would encourage you to make a bad drawing, write a bad poem, sing out of tune. Make a terrible drawing with colours that clash and lines that don't make sense. Make 10 bad drawings or more. And you know, this is the way that the wild creates. Look at the wildflowers springing up over the land here in Greece at the moment. Total abandonment of decorum. All colours scattered across the landscape, grasses and tendrils growing and twisting in all kinds of ways. These flowers aren't afraid of failure, and neither are they longing to succeed. They're simply creating and being in chaotic and generous flow, dancing in the breeze, in total freedom. So make the bad drawings, fail spectacularly. And you know what we find when we make these things that may seem like failures? The world doesn't end. You will still be breathing. You will have lost nothing, but you will have gained the knowledge that you are more than strong enough to withstand failure. And then you may well notice, hang on, that drawing I dismissed actually looks really interesting. Because when we stop fretting and yearning to succeed, an easy freedom emerges. And we discover things we would never have realised if we'd stuck to the safe route and the safe ways of being that are sure and familiar to us. The simple act of risking failure has enabled us to expand the possibilities of who we are and the narratives we've told about ourselves. I can't draw, for example. It begins to fade into irrelevance. What does it matter if you can or can't draw? You are drawing. You're drawing now. So this is my invitation to you. If there are stories you're telling yourself that begin, I can't, And you may want to think for a moment now if there are any stories like that that you're telling yourself. Let's try a bad drawing meditation. And the thing with drawing is that it's a whole body experience. We're not sitting and thinking our way through a problem or difficulty. Our muscles are moving. Our weight is shifting in the chair. We hold the pencil firmly or delicately. We feel the resistance as it moves across the page. This is a way into those visceral body sensations that arise from the harsh narratives we tell about ourselves. So here's my suggestion. Get some paper and art materials, even a simple pen or pencil will do. Set aside some time, maybe 15 minutes or half an hour when you won't be disturbed. Breathe deep. Notice the sensations in your body. Where are you holding anxiety or anticipation or fear of failure or playfulness even? And even now, as you listen, notice what reaction you have to the notion of making a bad drawing. This is all information, informing us where we hold our fears of failure. Look at the blank sheets of paper you've laid out. Notice what sensations they evoke in you. And then, when you're ready, knowing that no one will ever see these drawings, go for it. Make strange marks. Use your non-dominant hand, perhaps, the one where you feel less in control. If you're ambidextrous, hold the pencil in your mouth or with your toes and make some gloriously bad drawings. Scribble with glee and wild abandon. And we can put so many energies, different energies, into the marks we make. We can do the angry thrusting. We can do the gentle flow. We can do the chaotic, out of control scribbling. When you feel like you've finished, sit a while with what you've created. Notice where you felt freedom and where you felt resistance. Notice whether there was any fear. Notice if you found a joyful flow, and all of it without judgment. And notice that even if all the drawings are terrible, everything is fine. You are still breathing. You are still you. And then, if it feels right to you, bring any of your I can't stories into your awareness. Begin to ponder and question, what would it feel like to bring that same energy you brought to the drawing into this part of your life? What practical things could you do to make a change in your life in this area? Even just a small step, such as having a conversation with someone who's done the education course you've been scared to attempt, filling in that application form, buying a set of oil paints, whatever it may be. The shift in the story is from I can't do this because I will fail to I'm going to do this whatever the outcome may be. And the transformation happens not in our heads, but in our bodies. And you know, it might be the 3rd time or the 100th time, but one of those times when you step out with boldness, not minding whether you make a bad drawing or not minding whether the step in life you're taking will be a glorious failure or not, one of those times you will discover that you have created a masterpiece. And new spaces and new possibilities will have opened up in your life. Now, I'd love to hear from you when you explore this bad drawing meditation. Drop a comment below to share your experience if you'd like to. And you definitely don't have to share your drawings. And also a question for you. I wonder, what role do you think that making art has in helping our transformation and healing? Let us know again in the comments. As you explore all of this, if a one-to-one video call would be helpful, I've got over 15 years of experience accompanying people on their spiritual journeys and their creative journeys. So drop me a message and we can discuss what might work for you. Also, if you'd be interested in having your personal story and experience expressed in a piece of art, then I'd be happy to work with you as well. Might be a painting like this, a little sculpture or talisman, a little piece of driftwood or so on. Whatever will be helpful to you. Send me a message or follow a link attached to this channel. Now, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a peaceful and gentle day. And I'll be here again next time for more journeys with art, soul, and landscape. Lots of love.